Already, we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello. This is Alex Koloskov and Andrei Relinau.
Hello.
Did I pronounce
Almost
that?
there.
Really?
Almost there,
Relinau.
Alex.
I need to courses to fix my tongue. How are you, Andrei? Thank you for joining us.
I'm good. Thank you for inviting. Hope everything is well with you.
Yes, I hope so. I don't know, it's still my early morning. It's 1 p.m. It's early morning. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, as we start doing it, I think since last time, we have this Q&A session for our certification program students. But we open it for everyone, so every subscriber to Photigy newsletter, every student who registered at Photigy, in hope that we can, talk about not just about stuff that we learn in certification program, but we can discuss anything that you guys want us to discuss. Maybe you have some questions, suggestions, anything technical, everything except probably politics and religion. So the rest we can discuss. The rest better stay away. How are we doing, guys? I see many people all around the world: Toronto, Belgium, Spain, Ireland, Canada, New Jersey, France, Italy, Poland. Wow. Literally all the world. Netherlands. Great. Guys, are you... Yeah, do you hear us well? Do you see us well? If so, please post plus or indicate somehow that yeah, good. I mean, the reception and the video and the sound and everything. Okay. Rotate this little guy. Okay. Thank you, David. We have pluses, loud and clear. Beautiful.
Okay.
Awesome. So, I was talking to Andrei just 5 minutes ago, like, okay, what do we have? What we can discuss. Because I check on the forum, we have this support forum only for students of certification program. And there is not much there. I mean, some technical questions, organizational questions, but nothing basically that we can discuss here for everyone, maybe except the one, there is photography gear long thread that I didn't follow completely, but looks like it was, great suggestion on what to buy in Japan, right, Andrei? We got it. It was a question about storing files.
Yeah.
RAW or, what kind of, we all agree that we store in RAW files from our photo sessions. Unless this is something that we process in Photoshop, so it will be Photoshop file eventually saved, but source file, originals only in RAW. So the agenda is this. Okay, we actually having question coming. I was thinking that, hey, we can discuss something before you guys start asking questions, but looks like it's coming. And greeting from Texas. Oh, Texas, lovely Texas. I'm going to visit Miami. Actually, tomorrow morning I'll be in Miami just to see how people live there even 2 months ago, and it's quite different than in California. Anyway, Andrei, looks like we can start answering questions right away. Yeah, and then if you'll have time, I really want to talk about videography for product photographer. Basically, Andrei, how you call it? Video product photography?
Video photography for products, something? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we already start exploring 3D, right? We've seen on our workshops, we start pushing 3D because this is the future. This is where product photography moves. I mean, the blend of 3D and photography. And we really need to cover, videography. We have one course for jewelry, videography, 360, but this is something, again, considering that all the new cameras, still cameras has beautiful video capabilities, just amazing. It's really good to move that area for us, for product photographers to learn it, because it's being paid better, and I think it will be on more demand. Videography, considering all this, Instagram, Facebook, and all the stuff where our customers posting our images, used to post our images. Okay, but first questions. Jim is asking, can you recommend, you know what? It will be a little bit, no, this is bigger. Can you recommend tilt shift adapters on the chip? I want to play around with tilt shift, but don't want to spend a lot just to see if it's useful. Jim is asking, interesting question. Yeah, I remember I played a lot with tilt and shift. The time I built a tilt shift adapter using the view camera, probably not the least expensive way to do it. Andrei, what do you think? I'm gonna search a little bit on Amazon. Meanwhile,
yeah, I can share my experience because I recently did this. So just to answer your question, Jim, basically I shoot with Nikon and Fuji, and slowly but surely for simple product photography, Fuji took over because it's easier to work with. It's smaller, has USB-C. It's easier to work with in general. So as you may or may not know, for Fuji there are no tilt and shift lenses available. So then I was in search for an adapter. Basically, I found two of them. I opted for the Photigy. I will write it in the chat right now. I can share also a link from Amazon Germany, just for you to see, but you can actually go and look for it on their website. I don't know where you are located in the world. Photigy is reasonably priced. It's about 200 euros in Europe and a little bit less in US. And it worked really great. It's solid build and it has nice colors on it. So the good part with it is that it does both tilt and shift, and it also rotates. So then you can tilt and shift in any direction that you need. Now, what you need to keep in
this, right?
Yes. So like this, I managed to use my Nikon lenses on my Fuji. Now, what you need to take into consideration is the size of your sensor. So if you are shooting a full frame, you will need a bigger lens, bigger than full frame, to adapt it to your full frame sensor. So you'll need to go somewhere towards medium format, like Mamiya lenses or Pentax. They are quite cheap. You can find some of them. If you shoot crop, then a full frame lens will work perfectly. And for example, I tried my full frame lenses from Nikon. They work perfectly on Fuji, shifted almost all the way, I think 6 millimeters each side. And it also worked nicely with the crop design lens. Okay, I don't have so much shift with it. I cannot move it all the way, but still it worked. I tested with a 40 millimeters, which is a crop lens from Nikon, and worked perfectly. No problems there. And I think it's a cheap solution. It's easy to mount. This one is well built. I'm not advertising for them, but this is my experience. So then if you have the Canon, you can take the Canon adapter to whatever other lenses you might have. This is my experience going full frame towards crop sensor size.
With this one, I see. Actually, it's really cool one. Looks like a very well built piece.
Yeah, it is.
Andrei, I shared it. You guys, you have it on the chat. I also look at this. This is, well, not sure about if they have tilt shift capabilities. Looks like it's not, unfortunately. So there are. This is almost like to play with it. It's not the best quality and stuff, but if you can find, because I think there was similar adapters that not only can push lens back and forth out of the camera, basically turn any lens into macro or super macro, but there is tilt shift. So it's very cheap way to, if you get something that can do tilt shift, play with it just to feel. But I think this is the best because it's really work. I mean, what Andrei suggested.
There is another brand which is called Kipon, Kipon. I just shared the link on their website, and they also seem to build nice adapters. They have good reviews on YouTube and Amazon. I told you I opted for Photigy because it was available in Europe. Kipon was not available at the time I purchased it.
Oh, they have music. It's just not good. Okay, thank you. Let me share it. It's the worst thing when you enter a website and it plays music without, asking you. It's like, what is going on? It's so old. So you're saying that they have? I see they make
all sorts of adapters, and I think they are also building some smart adapters that communicate also the focus. And be careful that with tilt and shift, Jim, I don't know if you are aware, but even tilt and shift lenses, they don't have autofocus, so everything is manual.
Yeah, we don't need autofocus on product photography most of the time. Well, I never use autofocus.
I use it all the time.
Oh, really? Well, it's probably faster, but I have issues with this. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Thank you, Andrei. Thank you, Jim. Let's move to Alexandra's question. You guys always talk about using 3 boxes. I'm wondering, and share 1 second. I'm wondering if I can achieve similar results using 24 octa boxes. If not, can I simply cover the outer edges and leave the middle out there? So box clear to create the same shape. Alexandra, it's a good question. And the answer is yes and no. It depends on how you're going to use that shape that you create in the middle of your octa box, or any size of sort of like a squarish box or rounded box. It works well when you just need to have straight highlight on something, either on diffuser or on reflector or whatever, but you put it straight like this. Let's say this is your diffuser. You have light like this from your do-it-yourself strip box, then no problem. The issue starts happening when you need to create a gradient. And unfortunately or fortunately, strip boxes, we love to use them to create nice gradients on the diffuser. And then the diffuser with that nice gradient going to be reflected from highly reflective surface on your subject. So this is how we make these beautiful photos of jewelry, watches, anything glossy, anything glass, like bottles. They have the beautiful gradient that is created by touching with your strip box, touching the diffuser with sharp angle. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Imagine that this is your diffuser, this is your strip box. This, let's say, the way that strip box, heads the light. You need to touch it like this with that edge, or okay, easy. This is the edge that you need to touch your diffuser, so it's bright here and then it gets darker. You cannot touch it if it's like that, with the opening in the middle. You cannot just touch it. This is the biggest issue. So it's not going to work, I would say, for 90% of cases, because for example, I use strip box 95% of the time just to create that gradient on either diffuser or reflector. And it should have clear edges. Okay? Andrei, am I right or not? What do you think?
You're absolutely right. And I would add 2 more things, if I may. Octoboxes also influence the quality of light and the fallout of light. And if we are talking about what is called a deep octo, which, sorry, this is a mug, but it looks kind of like this, it's more cone shape, then this will have a bigger fallout here, meaning that whatever is here will receive more light. Whatever is 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters behind will receive less light, which is different from a strip box, which will give you more graduated fall of the light. This is due to the shape of this octo. And maybe you have noticed that there are different shapes. These are the deep ones. They are very good for portraits because they give you a nice light here and then a quick fallout. But for product photography, not such a good idea, in my opinion, especially for what Alex said, for everything that's glossy, whenever you need a gradient, it will also affect the shape of the gradient, no matter how much you try to block it. And sometimes you even need strip boxes that are, purchases that are straight. I mean, they come, you had one which was black, Alex, if I remember correctly, with some barn doors which are small, and due to the, it's here my hand, due to this shape, this side being straight, it gives an even better quality of light for this kind of gradients on bottles, on, I don't know, side of boxes or something like this. So okay, you can try until your strip box arrives, but you are going to get into some difficulties.
Yeah, definitely. Try. It's the first thing, even without asking questions, you can always, hey, and go ahead and shoot, and then see yourself. And talking about, modification, like you said, it's way easier to turn square box into strip box. Just, cover, let's say, 2/3 of it, and you will have one side at least clear that you can touch and stuff like this. Of course, you will lose, I don't know, 2/3 or more light, actually more than 2/3 of the light, because it will be most of the light in the middle. But if you have powerful enough light, or if you have good enough ISO, which we all have, you can at least play with it. Like Andrei said before, your strip box will come. Okay, I hope this answers your question. Let's move to the next one. Carlos, can you talk more about you guys closing to help the penguins? Oh man, it was, that idea, I didn't prepare for this. I just wake up that morning and I said, like, wait a minute, it's the 1st of April. I need to do something. So it was just, idea out of nowhere. It was fun. I hope you kind of used it for to get some cool lessons for really, really low price. It's rare event, and I got relatively quite a number of responses. Many people sort of congratulate me with with smiles about penguins, but it was a few people who actually got fooled, after I sent email next day that, it's a joke. I got some, well, it was, I think, at least 2 emails with really, guys were really upset, saying that it's not good, and they spend money without thinking that, sort of like urgency. I built urgency, because of this sale. But again, any sale, it's always urgency because it ends, and we basically return money to those guys, saying that if you don't like to use this discount, no worry. So it was cool. It was cool thing. I hope you enjoyed it in any ways. And penguins are cool, to breed. I still think that I might have time in my life to go and breed penguins. Plus, I've never been in Australia.
Didn't get the chance to tell you, but you actually fooled me for a little bit, because on my timeline, on my time zone, it came quite late in the evening, and maybe the guys who are listening to us don't know, but Alex is more of an action man. So he takes a decision and he implements it very quickly. And we got used to this in the team. So we are not surprised anymore. So I was reading the first line, sorry guys, to let you know that we are closing down Photigy. I said, okay, but this is important. You could have given us a heads up, not to learn in an email. And then he hit me and said, no, it's April Fool's Day. Okay, so I good for you, Alex. You caught me.
Yeah, nobody in the team didn't know it literally. It was like this. It's 1st April. And yeah, unfortunately, California is the last who meet the day, last part of the world almost. Hawaii, is it even further away?
Yeah, it's the last one. Hawaii is the really last one.
It's very close. It's not Hawaii yet, but for many people it was like, what? It's not 1st April anymore. Okay. Can you provide approximate dimension of piece of plexiglass self-bend shooting table? Sis is asking. Well, Sis, it's really, really all depends of what you're gonna shoot and what availability of plexiglass you have. I got something that I found that way. I can tell you that. Oh man, So the idea, guys, of the plexiglass to bend, we're probably talking about shooting white on a white background out of the camera. One of the things that part of the certification program, and actually now we pulled it as separate products for those who want to kind of get it before joining the program. But the idea of this, that you can have clear plexiglass, you can bend it this way, like this, okay? No, yeah, and like that, like that. So I killed the good paper. So you bend it like this, okay? And it's all clear. And then you put something here and shoot. And the size of this, well, I would say 3 feet by 1.5 feet. And again, I'm taking it out of my mind. It's 1 meter long, about 40 centimeters wide, just enough to make that S shape. And actually, you don't need to bend the top one. I was wrong. You do like this, like that. So top, we don't care. We need this to be bent and this to be bent. Why we need this to be bent? Because if you're going to shoot it straight, if you shoot from top, it doesn't matter. It just could be, just a piece without any bending, piece of clear plexiglass. But if you shoot straight like this, you don't want to see the edge. So once you bend it, there is no edge, and virtually your item is floating on the air if you have background bright enough, background behind all this, really behind, no light spill, at least from the light directly that you put on the background. And it appears that your product is just floating on a completely white background out of the camera. It's a beautiful technique. It works even for glossy items like white glossy, and even for glass. Glass, like clear glass, you can have it on a white background out of the camera. It's a cool stuff. And again, it's a certification program. If you want to join, you actually will have a chance to do it today. For all of you guys who is not on the program yet, we'll have a very cool offer today, for only today. It will be a link posted a little bit later. Okay.
Now, talking about size keys, this is one of the things that it's trial and error. I always like to do my research before I build a project or I do something, but it really depends on the size of the product that you are photographing and the focal length that you are going to use on your lens. If you are shooting close with a wide lens, then obviously you need a wider plexiglass. Where are my hands? Here are my hands. You need a wider plexiglass and so on. And sometimes you need more longer one. This is not necessarily an issue, just to put a little bit more distance. So go on, try it, and you will find the right size for you. I don't think there is a formula. Like Alex said, it was from the top of his head.
Yeah, there is no formula. And weight, some people asking about thickness of plexiglass. Again, it depends on how much weight you're going to put on it. Yeah. Thicker is better, it's stronger, it's cooler, but it's harder to bend. You need to be really careful because you can break instead of bending, or overheat and start, kind of melting instead. So it's all depends on your particular needs and cases. Let's move next. Whoa, many questions coming. How we can share capacity spins to Instagram? Oh, capacity. This guy's doing great. I mean, I'm so glad that we got a partnership with them. It was, I think, in 2017 or so. It's not there yet, so we can share only the link, because the issue is that the integration where you can rotate all the stuff, Instagram should support the player. Basically, player, it's something that loads into that either iframe or, let's say, some container on a web page. And it loads it from capacity server. Guys, if you have no idea what we are talking about, 1 second, I'll share it. What's the capacity? We're talking about, where is it? We have a course for this, so I'll share. Okay. It's a technology that is really cool for e-commerce, where you can shoot stuff and then have it represented. How do you call it? When
3D?
Yeah, 3D. The user can move it. So
interactive. You can decide on.
Yes. So it's completely interactive. This is all player. There is no zoom, but with new application, they can. You see, it's white on white. This is why it's here. It's kind of. It's not an easy, but it could be even people. Where let's say you shoot some fashion things, and then on the store people can rotate it. And like I said, there is no zoom, but on new versions, you can zoom on some part, look at the material and stuff like this, and see. So we have a course saying how to get it done with all the equipment needed. It's really super cool stuff, and it's not sure if it's on sale or not, but it's here. And the question was how to integrate it to Instagram. It's not there yet, guys. Instagram, a big company, capacity is not that big yet, and integration is a big deal. So only link can be shared. They working on this hard. I think they grow like at least 5 times for last year. Really talking about user base, talking about client base. I mean the stores that actually using the technology. Really, they did great. So if you're interested in that course, just look at our, again, I need to share it a little bit, sorry. It's under school, individual courses, and you scroll all the way down. This is it, 3D digitizing. It's called 3D digitizing and 360 creation. We have a course where you can learn and do things with that. Okay. Used part in certification program. Yes, it was part 5. Another question. You can shoot crop frame on your full frame camera. Yeah, it's probably was about tilt shift, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Jim is asking, where can I find a photography lawyer? I want to review contracts and copyright-related issues. I think should choose one in my state due to regional laws, but do not where to find one, let alone a good one. Yeah, this is the question. I don't know. I don't have straight answer where to find a lawyer. I never had lawyer for stuff like this. We used it only once. I think it was even like online lawyer to create contracts. Something simple and relatively generic. But for this, I don't know, Andrei, do you have any ideas where we can find lawyer?
Well, not sure how it is in US, but for example, for Europe, all the lawyers that are handling like musicians or everything that's related to copyright, because at the end of the day, you are creating you are having an artistic creation with your photography, and it's mostly bounded by copyright laws. So musician lawyers are quite popular, and the law is more or less the same, because they are also creating visual products like movie clips or teasers, or they appear in commercials and so on. So they should be aware of. I mean, maybe if you just search photo lawyer, you will not find much. But if you search for lawyers specialized in copyright, then maybe you can find some names there.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Actually, it's a cool idea. Copyright lawyer, yeah, because the law are the same, regardless of what kind of media you work on, right? And yeah, it's copyright lawyer. They should be there. Yeah. It's a beautiful world. I mean, beautiful. Laws made the way that normal, intelligent, well-educated people can't really understand what is written. And we need an interpreter who will kind of, say that, this is how it is. So it's a friction, like everything that happens in financial system, in lawyers and all this, there are people who do stuff for us and they get in our money, of course. Beautiful world. Anyway, we build it. Who would complain? Carlos still was fooled. No. It will be penguins later, just later, guys. I think they're doing good for now. Okay. Okay. What other questions do we have?
Legal we have share. One from Omega.
Omega. Okay. So Omega is asking, Andrei, Alex, I have 2 large strip boxes and 1 large Savage Translume backdrop on 2 tall stands. Okay. I still have not made the do-it-yourself screen Alex showed in assignment 2. We're talking about screens the diffusers probably, right? I'm a bit worried I will mess up the role of Savage Translume by trying to make them myself. How important is it to use such screen even over the strip boxes? There are any smaller screens you can recommend that I can buy instead of making them myself? Any advice on the screens? Omega, first of all, I don't think you need to use them on strip boxes or on any sort of box. It should be enough, the built-in two layer of diffusions, right? The screen which is inside and the outer. I never had, I don't remember, at least I couldn't recall that I was putting the translume plastic on top of the softbox. So not for this. If you talk about screen the diffuser, well, it's super easy just to cut it and put it on. I mean, just the size of your frame, whatever it is. The only issue that I had, and still having actually, just because I'm not really accurate person and stuff like this, if you have not closed frame, because if it's closed, if it's, let's say, square frame, it's super easy to cut the Savage and use, let's say, good sticky Scotch tape to make it nice and stretched well. But I have open like a, Russian P.
C.
Side, like C, yeah, but yeah, like you see. But one side is absent, right? It's not full frame. And when I put my diffuser, it's not really stretched. And it's like this, and it's not good. This is the biggest issue with Translume. Yeah, sometimes it could be hard to make it nice and stretched without any. It's not even wrinkles because it's thick. It will be like a waves, which is not good. But you need to look for this. I mean, watch for this. But I can tell you where you can get material that will kind of cover you in case it's the Translume is too expensive to try. Maybe it's not the least expensive solution, but if you will search for light box, I was talking, I think, last time about that. There are big light boxes, huge light boxes that cost $60. Light box, I'm talking about the cube with one opening for the camera. It's
or a light tent. They are called also a tent.
Yeah, light tent. Light tent. Photography, large. Looking at the Amazon. Okay, let me share screen. This is an alternative to the Translume plastic. Look at this one. This is not the largest one, 60 centimeters, but there are, I think, more than meter, like 90 or 86 inches or something, huge one, around $60. What you get here, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, if you just cut it, 5 pieces of good photography grade, thick, it's, how you call it, Andrei, the material?
It's like the materials from the clothes. I don't know how to call it. It's silk. It's not silk. Actually,
like, it's not actually silk is not good. Silk. Many diffusers like Westcoat, they use silk, and it's not good because it's too thin. It's something thicker. Yeah,
it's a fabric with a little bit of finish like Napa leather, like suede on a top, which diffuses even better.
Yeah, I got the big one, and it's just super cool. Do we have any larger?
What I would recommend you also, Omega, is to take the square one, because sometimes the squared ones, they are foldable, which means that the sides are already built. They have the wires inside it, and they have a little bit of how do you call it, the sticky part. Then you take it all out. Let me share a link. So share the link with Amazon DE, and you can see better what I mean by the square ones. I have one behind. You can go and pick it up. Actually, I created some nice. Yeah, this one.
Oh, I see. How large is it?
I don't know how big it is, but usually you can get 90 by 90. And here on the edge, usually they have Velcro. As you can see, they are foldable. So then you can create 120 by 60. If you use 2 of them, if you use 3 of them, it will be longer, or you can mount them as a square and so on. So pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool one. The only thing that if you can find it without, like this one, without LED lights, if you don't need LED lights, because there is no need to pay. But yeah, for 90 euros, you have, well, it's a little bit different. It's black. Not sure if it's transparent or not. But Christopher is asking, yeah, Omega, no, it was Omega. At least you know the direction, right, where to look.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move to the next one. Valentin is asking, at the end of the critique session on workshops 39, several times in other workshops, you mentioned that mysterious source of cheap but very photogenically suitable jewelry on Amazon. Would you please share the top secret? Well, Valentin, of course it's not secret, but you know, it's not the best thing because it will look ugly when you get really close up to it. It's cool to learn, to test your skill, to do all the lighting, but really to make it look good for your portfolio, you need to put a lot of post-production. Otherwise, it would look like a cheap piece, and you don't want to appear any cheap stuff. Not talking about cheap photography, but you know, the thing that you shoot jewelry, they will look cheap on your portfolio, so nobody should see it. So there is no secret, really. It's like what I do the jewelry, let's say fine jewelry, ring. Let's start from rings. They will come. So here it is. I mean, and you're getting actually, it's in Germany. It's interesting how it's in America. Is it the same or not? The Amazon Germany was. Oh, some really cool stuff there. I mean, for real money. Anyway, I was looking like this. I even didn't remember the specific the store or whatever because it was so easy to find. You see, for $25 around dollars, you can have relatively good looking. But again, it's good looking here. They have, well, they may have good touchers. They even may have 3D, you know, doing this for them. And for example, this one, it's a prime. This should be relatively good. Well, relatively. For $20 to $100, you can return it at least because it's prime, at least in the US. But yeah, this is how I do it. It's interesting. I didn't look for this for about half a year, and prices are higher, meaning that it's not prices higher, more expensive jewelry coming to Amazon these days, which is unusual, especially unusual if it's prime, because prime you can return it without, you know, saying that, I mean, for any reason. And with jewelry, it's not a good idea if I would sell jewelry. Andrei, what do you have any suggestion where to get nice jewelry?
Well, I'm sure that in your country or neighboring countries, you can always find online shops for jewelry. And I'm not talking about the high-end expensive ones, but in the same price range, especially for silver. With gold, it's a little bit more tricky because it's more expensive as a metal. But with silver ones, you can always find that 20, 25. Let's say US dollars or euros. I was searching now in Romania, and there is something called like simoshop.ro. It's an amazing collection of jewelry. I mean, you can find anything. But again, this is local. Probably they do not send abroad. I don't know where you are from, Valentin, but definitely you can find it also locally. Now, at 25, you can keep it, I think, or offer it to someone for Women's Day or something.
Yeah, I can tell you guys that, of course, the best thing after you learn how to shoot jewelry using that $25 pieces is to go to your local jewelry store, the real one, not the branded one, because they're not going to work with you, but some small stores where you can talk to the owner directly. Usually the owner sitting there, selling stuff. And I did it multiple times, and it works. I mean, you just talk to them, you introduce yourself as a photographer, you express interest in their stuff, and you offer them exchange. You shoot their jewelry. Of course, you borrow, shoot. They even will present. I mean, they will sit in your studio because it could be sometimes it's expensive stuff, really expensive stuff, and you provide them photos for free that they can use anywhere. And what you get photos, the same photos for your portfolio. And I did it. Well, watch which one for e-commerce. This one, I think, this is the last one that I did for jewelry using the same technique. I went into the store and I got store in Los Gatos here in California. So those pieces, I don't know how much they cost, but it was really expensive stuff because it was real thing. You can always do this, really. Okay. Valentin, I hope it helps. Christopher saying that I made translucent stands out of PVC. I would be happy to share the design with anyone. Shoot me a message. Admin hubctphotos.com. Thank you, Christopher, for offering this. PVC is probably the simplest way to make relatively large and nice diffusers. However, I can tell one thing against using PVC, the only one thing, at least for me. Because it's not as stiff as metal, you cannot really use them holding with one arm, or with one clamp, let's say clamp, the photography clamp that you can put on your C-stand and put your diffuser on any way, like this, for example, with one clamp here and C-stand here. If diffuser is, let's say, 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters, or even like a small one may work with PVC. Larger one will be too heavy and it will break. It just won't hold. You need to put hold it from two sides. This is the only thing with PVC. If you put them vertically, not a problem at all. You hand, of course, but talking about, something like that. I usually try to get metal frame. You can buy it, but even simpler, you can weld it. Really, maybe not yourself. That's me, crazy guy. I have welding machine. I can, weld it in 10 minutes. Just a simple frame. And it works from the rods that I buy in construction store. But you can always ask any welder, in your area. They will do it for $20. They will weld because it's super simple. It's like 4 pieces. You cut it by yourself, cut to the side. They made 4 connections and one with little support, one little pin that will go into that clamp. You know what I'm talking about? Clamp that you can basically grip head that you can mount on the stand. Okay, Andrei, you're nodding, so it's something that you would do or you did yourself?
Yeah, I generally try different stuff for this. The mosquito net that you put behind the door? Usually it has a small aluminum profile, which already has corners. And because the aluminum is like a pipe, but with straight lines, Then it also has some connectors, and it's rather strong. You can also work with that ones, and they're quite cheap, but they come in standard sizes due to the window size. Another type of pipe is PPR, which PPR has a metallic stuff inside it. I can probably share a link. It kind of looks like this. Let me see if it opens. I'm advertising all Romanian shops now. And it's much more stronger. I actually used one to create a white reflector on top of my furniture product, and it was 6 meters by 3 meters, and it really held in place. I mean, it bended a little bit, but imagine 6 meters by 3 meters. In order to make it not to bend, I used the handle from a broom, and I just taped it in place, and it was sitting straight. This has some sort of metal armature inside it, if you need bigger ones. And it also comes with connectors, with a T connector, with a corner connector, and so on. So then you can create whatever you want to do. PPR, I think, is the English name or something. Let me try and find it.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Where it's opened. I never have seen anything like this here in the US, but who knows? Yeah, and frames. Well, frames could work sometimes, sometimes not. Usually they're not really. I mean, frames for pictures.
Yeah, they're not stiff enough.
Yeah, stiff enough, but again,
you end up being quite expensive sometimes.
Yeah, true. Okay. So, guys, I think, well, we're getting almost 1 hour. We still have time. What I want to do, I want to share that offer to anyone who is not on certification yet, but interested to join. Here is the offer, okay? Basically, it's 1/3 of the price that you see on the program, of the original price. It's rare because we do have, since it's not purely digital product, talking about certification program, there are lots of interactions there, the real-time interactions, meaning that, well, besides talking like this, you will have Andrei or me, mostly Andrei, reviewing your work personally. So it's really working with the instructor. This is the only program where you can learn photography and receive feedback, personal feedback from your instructor. And we have all kinds of things there from the very beginning to the really high-end stuff. Okay, so it will work for 24 hours, this discount. Feel free to join. And, well, you'll talk to Andrei very soon once you join it. Okay.
Before the next topic, Alex, I would like to touch on 2 small topics. One of them is most of you guys who are available here received some time ago an email asking you to help us with a survey, answering some questions about what you would like to improve on the certification program, mainly in the reviewer part. So if you didn't get the chance to fill it, search your archive or let us know and we'll send it again. And we'll be happy to take into consideration any suggestions that you have. This is number 1. And number 2, on the forum, there was a question from Lydia about her new Canon 5DS Mark with 50 megapixel sensor, which obviously produces large RAW files. Now, my personal suggestion and experience, because I moved from 12 to 36, then to 50, then to 100 megapixel, and so on, is first of all, always shoot RAW, especially when you are a beginner, because later on you learn new stuff to process your images. And even I have images shot with my D700 7 years ago. 12 megapixels, but with the advancements in Photoshop and noise reduction and so on, I can still retouch some of them and get better results than before. This is one. Second, if you don't have enough storage space, I mean, hard drives are relatively cheap these days, but okay, you can, in the beginning, you need to spend money here and there. What you can do, you can shoot in crop format. So there was a suggestion on the forum that you should use the mini RAW file format. I don't recommend that because you are losing quality. But let's say the Nikon D810 was shooting 36 megapixel. If I shoot in crop format, it will shoot 15 megapixels. So the file will be definitely smaller. And you can also use compressed lossless in the file, in the raw file, and this will reduce by 30%. Don't go with the mini RAW. It's a weird format in Canon, in Nikon. Didn't serve me well. A lot of artifacts there. If you have any other suggestions,
right?
I don't know exactly. They're reducing the resolution as well, but they also compress heavily the file. So you end up with something like 9 megabytes instead of 36. I mean the size of the file, but it reduces a lot the quality. In my experience with Nikon, I never use it. But shooting crop mode, and there is another thing that I suggest. When you take the file to Photoshop, if you use Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom, or I think even in Capture One, you have the possibility to reduce the file when you take it in Photoshop. So for a small thing, okay, you crop it, but you still end up with 30 megapixel of resolution. You don't need that much in Photoshop, and it will make Photoshop work heavier. Depends on your computer, of course. And then you can decide what is the final output. Is 3000 by 3000. And you can already reduce the size that is being sent to Photoshop. I faced this when I was shooting some bracelets, and the guy actually wanted the final resolution 1000 by 1000. And I was shooting at 50 megapixel, and it killed my Photoshop handling 100 files at once. So learn from my mistakes, please.
It's interesting. I was thinking that recent, like 10 years and more, digital cameras, they were moving ahead by increasing megapixels, the sensor size in megapixels, right? Not so much in physical size, but in megapixels. And now they look like they can make 500 megapixel, but there is no reason to do this. I mean, it's kind of stopped because the way that we look at photos went opposite way. Instead of looking on large screens, most of the time, most of the people looking at the photos and ads and out on that screen. So all these megapixels really don't kind of work anymore. And I think this is one of the reasons why they put video capabilities so much, time and efforts and money into the cameras, the manufacturer. And kind of going back to that, to the start of this talk when we were talking about making movies. We don't need megapixels. Think about if you kind of thinking about camera to upgrade, I don't think it will be really related or really useful for you to, let's say, move from 30, 40, and 50 to 100 megapixel. Of course, if you have a need, why you're doing this, it's fine. But I would better get the camera that will shoot, let's say, 6K video, still camera. 4K, of course, it's like must now. Think about, cameras, maybe some of them support already, because you can utilize this to do this basically the same thing as you do with your light, with your camera, with your same clients, but deliver them short videos of their products. Instagram, Facebook, everything moves to the video. Basically, there are 5G network coming, right? So the bandwidth is increasing. We don't need it for text. We don't need that much bandwidth for photos, but we need for videos. So everything will be video. Even for still photos, I think it will be sort of like a video slideshows. Zoom in, zoom out, some motion to make it more engaging. And we really need to move that area, guys, if you want to stay on the market and be competitive. Think about it. I'm working on the next workshop. It will be jewelry. It's behind me, some stuff. I got a beautiful jewelry piece that I think now should be done video. We never did it. We have a course, but why not to show you without any sliders? I mean, on a very basic setup. I don't have much about video, much equipment, but we can do it video. It's just heads up. It was one question. Yeah. Just quick, I want to cover it from Christopher about 2 different places for the Photigy. Yes, old stuff is on one place. It's www.photigy.com/school. And half of our stuff is on learn.photigy.com, which is, we call it Kartra. Underneath it's Kartra. It's like a provider for all the stuff. It's a beautiful thing. However, the transition takes quite time. And unfortunately, there is no single entry point yet. We'll end up having everything on Kartra. So it will be one login for everything, but it takes time. We do it gradually. And especially it's harder with subscription. There is no way to move subscription from the old website to a new website. Talking about financial part of it. We'll move all the content probably somewhere by the middle of this year, of 2021. And somehow we'll move the subscription. Basically, you guys need to move it. Unsubscribe and subscribe, but it will be announcements. So, Christopher, unfortunately, still 2 entry point, one for Kartra, one for other stuff. Well, Kartra is certification and some of the courses. Okay. Is it a good
one from Omega also?
Yeah, from Omega. Basically, I think I answered without looking. Yeah, there is no. Well, the alternative for not having higher megapixel camera. Well, if upgrade, it should be video. But
she was talking about increasing the resolution afterwards.
Yeah. What's the reason? I mean, the only reason to do this if clients really need like huge resolution file, right? If they require photographers to deliver file with 100 or more megapixel. Usually we just, if I would get this type of assignment and requirements, I would just rent the camera. And of course they will pay for this because it's, I mean, in professional world, it's okay if photographer will rent something and the client, I mean, it will be included in the bill. But I mean, what's the problem? You can always rent the camera. But it's so, Andrei, you work a lot for commercial clients. How much time do you really need 100 megapixel?
Almost never, unless it's a huge billboard, which doesn't happen very often. I mean, people move into online. But to answer exactly the question, yes, that things work. The problem is that it only works on RAW files, but it does exactly the same thing that Photoshop increase size. So Command-I or Control-I on a PC, and it does it very, very nicely. You just need to use version 2 on Photoshop, and I actually increased for a print a photo of 12 megapixels. I made it, I think, 140 megapixels, something like this, and there was no viewable problems. I mean, okay, it wasn't perfect because that's the details. It's 12 megapixel. It was a good shot without much noise in it. But actually you can do it in Photoshop as well with any kind of photos. Now, of course, if you try to take an iPhone 7 photo and double its resolution, it will not look very good. I also did it on drones, and this could be useful because cheap drones, Alex, have slightly small resolutions. And maybe you need the files to be displayed nicely on a 4K. I'm not talking about movies, I'm talking the photos that you take. And most of the drones now are taking raw pictures, so you have enough details. So I increased it from 12 to 24, no problems. It worked out nicely. But you can test it yourself and see the results. But generally, yeah, it's an option that you can use.
Okay. Okay, guys, we almost, thank you, Andrei.
Thank you.
I see people leaving, and yeah, it's 1 hour. We have really quick question about how to hold a jewelry. Yeah, usually dental wax, but recently I started using the hard glue gun. Yeah, it sounds scary, but if you use it carefully, it holds really well. I mean, it's really, you need to kind of develop the technique of how to put the super little droplet without having that, you know, like a hair coming, you know, the residue. But really, if you put it nicely, it holds really, really well. Wax, usually you need to have way more wax to hold that amount of jewelry, I mean the weight, so it kind of sticking out. But either wax, at least for me, wax or hot glue gun, you can actually play with different glues. There are more sticky ones and things like this. Okay, now it's time to say goodbye. You have the offer. Again, it will work for 24 hours, that link. Then it will be gone. if you want to join us, you're always welcome to join because, well, I think product photography is something that going to grow the market for product photographers, especially on this new world, new economy, and everything where we'll be online. We don't want to see the people. Okay, Andrei, thank you so much. It was a great time.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everybody. It was nice and good questions again. Nice Q&A.
Yes, yeah, really nice Q&A. See you guys in ±1 month from now. It will be a time and date sent in advance. So you, as usual, need to register for the Q&A and join us. Okay. Wish you good rest of the week. Stay healthy. Be sane, be critical to everything that you hear or see, especially online. Trust your eyes more than, your real stuff, not through the camera, not through this. And yeah, let's think about those who we love, who around us. It's way more important than any politics or any other stuff. This is our life, everyday life. Okay, guys.
Alex, we need to feed the penguins. Let's go.
Penguins, yes. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, Andrei. Bye.
Bye.